Leon's talking. He could just join the video.
He could.
And tell us instead of typing out a message.
Why do that? Why do that?
I will yell more. Because we go at...
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Brewdcast. I am, as always, there we go. I am, as always, Brad Robinson. Here with me tonight is Leon Robinson. Say hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
I am not entirely convinced that you aren't at a strip club, but we can talk about that later. And also with us, of course, is Town. Hi, Town. How you doing?
Good. I called Leon a dildo. I should apologize, but I'm not going to.
That's okay. You only have to apologize if the brass get involved. So
okay,
we're okay. We got bought out by Warner Brothers. So just kidding, we didn't.
I was gonna say that wouldn't be a bad thing.
No, not at all.
That increase of pay from nothing to possibly a little something would be
like even $12 an hour would be nice.
Yeah, I would take that for this.
I
feel like we'd talk way more though.
Yeah.
We got to earn those $36.
It's true. So I think before we get started here, we should probably address the thing that happened, or at least what we learned about maybe like an hour ago, that superstar Billy Graham has died.
Yep, heard that.
That sucked. Like I didn't follow his work all that much.
He's a little old. He's a little bit older for us. So I know a guy down at Frank's gym named Keith M, who lived in Arizona and used to work out with superstar Billy Graham.
Oh, that's cool.
And he said this guy also wrestled a match against Jake Roberts. He's kind of a cool guy. He's done a lot of cool stuff. But he said that superstar Billy Graham was like just hardcore into steroids, which superstar Billy Graham himself has said, and he looked not human, and he destroyed his fucking body with those.
Yeah.
So the fact that he made it to 79
is
crazy. Kind of impressive, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of impressive. I don't think his last years were very good. I think he was in really rough shape for a while. Mm-hmm. But Hulk Hogan stole his shit. So did 500 other guys. Triple H stole his shit. Ric Flair stole his shit. He's kind of that dude.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in a lot of ways, he's like a pillar of what sports entertainment is now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at, I think Gorgeous George is definitely a start of that. And from my understanding, Billy Graham borrowed a lot from Gorgeous George, and he's kind of like the second generation, and I think he really amped it up.
He did. He took it in a different direction because Gorgeous George was very flamboyant,
mm-hmm.
and his heat was almost, it like borderlined on cheap heat.
Yeah.
Gorgeous George also didn't take care of himself. I don't know if you ever actually read up on his career.
Yeah.
His last match was like 30 seconds because he had a massive heart attack 4 days before,
mm-hmm.
and wasn't cleared to wrestle, so he had to go out and lose his championship. Then he just died.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've talked about like the 70s and 80s, how hard those guys were run. They were run even harder back then. Like
back then, though, they were more of independent contractors, and they had
mm-hmm.
you had to wrestle to make money. It was such a different industry.
Yeah.
As opposed to now, you get a contract and they pay you like no matter what.
Yeah, if you weren't working, you weren't eating.
And also back then, there was a lot of guys who weren't just wrestlers. They were wrestlers, and they were, working at a factory or working at a restaurant or something.
Because they had to do it. That's the same thing with like NFL football players though mm-hmm. too. Like Ray Nitschke was on the Packers, and then he taught gym in a high school in the off season.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Not like it is now. Very different. Things are very different.
Yeah. That
the popularity of athletes really picked up at some point
mm-hmm.
in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, and then it's crazy to think a guy like that played football in the like Bart Starr Bart Starr never made $1 million playing football.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make shit. And he was lucky if he made $30,000 a year, and that was considered a lot of money back then. Now these guys are like Aaron Rodgers' contract for year 2 in New York. Do you know how much money he's making? His base salary is $107.6 million.
Fuck that.
So it's like,
fuck that.
That is his base salary next year because of how things worked out in the trade. So they're trying to revamp his contract to extend it so they can like spread out the pay. Because if you have one guy take up that much of your salary cap, that will be a small problem.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have to tack a whole lot of void years on there.
Yeah, understatement of the century. Superstar Billy Graham was a pioneer. He was an amazing guy. If you watch his original stuff, he was great. If you watched him in 80s WWF, shell.
Yeah.
He had a karate gimmick though.
Oh, thank God.
It did not work. Shockingly.
No.
That was like in 86, I think he had a karate gimmick. He came to the ring as like Master Billy Graham, and he was doing like karate chops and shit.
Oh my God, I think I remember that.
That was really bad.
Not remember it, but
it was really
yeah.
bad. But
Christ.
I feel like the people a generation before us have more memories of him than we do.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
I've watched like a handful of his matches, but you're right. Like it wasn't. It's sort of like trying to convince kids nowadays to play like NES games. Like it's the same thing. Like you had to be there.
But they're so good. They're so good.
Like we get that. It's a generational thing. Like like people grew up with Billy Starr Graham. Jesus Christ, I'm already fucking up people's names.
That is your gimmick.
It sure is. They understand how great he was, but like he was a trailblazer.
Yeah,
it's too bad. But
did we
made it to 76?
Did we all watch Dynamite?
I did.
Leon, did you watch Dynamite? Are you pissing? It sounds like he's pissing. Are you pissing?
No, it's a cat's fountain.
I don't understand why Town is giving you the face that he's giving you right now. This seems incredibly reasonable. Our cats don't fucking drink water if there's like shit floating in it. You gotta
Leon, did you watch Dynamite?
I watched Dynamite.
Okay. Good show. Good show.
Kind of closed my eyes for the last half hour or so, but
mistake, but okay. But go ahead.
Before we get too far, I've been meaning to do this for like the last 7 shows. 52 thumbs up for Aubrey Edwards. I love watching her in matches because like the wrestlers in the ring are selling the work, right? But Aubrey Edwards like takes it another like 15 steps. Like it's just like watching her, like somebody gets a chop and she's like, "Oh, like oh that hurts." Like she's amazing, and then she's tries to threaten like wrestlers and shit. It's just great. It's just she's amazing. Aubrey. She's amazing.
I love Aubrey. That match was good tonight. The one she ref the Jericho match. I liked that match. I saw the ending coming. I thought it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a good thing. That match at the pay-per-view will be good.
I thought it was going to be the JAS guys outside.
I did too.
I did not. I thought it would be Adam Cole. Just from the way they're putting this together, because he's being so aggressive, which I think long-term is the right move for Cole. How the fuck did the show start? I don't even remember.
Let's have a look.
Why don't I remember? There was some kind of like... Yeah, Wardlow. That's why I don't remember. I'm not feeling Wardlow right now.
I did not watch that. I'll be honest.
I
watched little bits and pieces, but I started early and I was like,
Wardlow's gonna be Christian.
Yeah.
The money match is Wardlow against Luchasaurus.
Yeah,
because two big meaty men slapping each other.
Yeah.
That could be some fun stuff.
I think it could, and I think that's what they need.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really care about that segment. It was whatever.
It served its purpose. Like that's
it was whatever. I think Wardlow just shouldn't be the TNT champion. That's my opinion. The tag match was good. After that, Cassidy and Darby.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love Orange Cassidy. I don't know if I've said that enough. He goes in the back, cuts the promo, and goes, "Whoever wants to fight me at the pay-per-view, just go tell Colton. Go tell Tony." 20 people want to fight you. Oh, I'll fight them all.
Unless Renee, do you wanna join too?
I loved it. I think he's gonna lose. I think he's gonna lose. I think he needs to lose. I think he loses. And they let. I would have him lose. Mm-hmm. Here's why I would have him lose. Because he's not going to get pinned. And I saw a thing today about the top 10, like the top 10 wrestlers in the world. Like if you had to name your top 3 wrestlers right now, legit top 3 wrestlers over the past 3 months who have been like that dude, who are they?
I mean, Orange is definitely one of them.
Orange Cassidy's on the fucking list. Like, he has to be. His matches have been just insane. Like, every week he's putting on the best match on the card. Like, Orange is that guy. Mm-hmm. I think more so than anybody in AEW and more so than anybody in the E. Like, he's that guy right now.
I would agree. Yeah.
Is he doing what, like, Roman Reigns is doing in terms of, like, merchandise? I don't even know. I wonder how their merchandise compares. I would assume Roman sells more merchandise, right? You would just assume. I don't know, because Orange sells a lot because he's popular. The Orange Cassidy, that match was great. The Orange Cassidy thing was great. What was after that, bud? I remember everything, but I'm not remembering the order.
That's fair. Sammy.
Guevara crushed that guy. Yeah. But I get what they're doing. It was fine.
It was fun. Well, but like, you look at Darby and you look at Darby's match, and you look at Jungle Boy's match, and it was a match, right? Mm-hmm. Guevara's wasn't. It was like a setup for a promo, which maybe that was the point, and it's going to be like,
I think so.
There's going to be some kind of skullduggery that happens at the pay-per-view that centers around Guevara and MJF, but it's just annoying.
Something weird's going to happen at the pay-per-view. I just don't know what. That match was, but I thought that was fine. I thought it served its purpose. What was after that?
So that was promo, and then Sheeta and Britt Baker versus the Outcasts. This was a good match.
I'm critical of their women's matches often, but this match was good.
Yeah.
This match was really fucking good. Mm-hmm. They put on a banger, and the ending I liked.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to get Sheeta and Britt against Ruby and Saraya at the pay-per-view.
I could see that. Yeah.
I think you have to do that. Mm-hmm. And then
I'm stoked for Storm versus Hayter. I think that's going to be a great match.
Well, this was about the time they announced that Collision too. They're going to have an announcement starting next week. Collision, I'm excited for Collision, and I'm cautious about Collision because that's 2 more hours a week that I have to watch wrestling.
Right.
And I don't want to get hit with the same people.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll do that. And I'm really optimistic because I think we're going to get more people on TV. Mm-hmm. That's really my hope. And not to bring them up, but I'm going to bring them up. I just read an article that...
I know. Bill Alfonso is talking about retiring. I heard about that.
I can't believe it. He never should. No. I just read a news article that they are... And I'm starting to think this shit is a work. Because there is a news article going around that CM Punk is having issues with AEW management because he doesn't want to be announced for that show. He just wants to show up. And he wants Ace Steel to come back. And they said Ace Steel can come back, but he can't work TV. Mm-hmm. And then Punk had just a rant on Instagram today.
Yes. And I saw the one on Brian Alvarez.
Okay, so Brian Alvarez does tend to target CM Punk. Mm-hmm. I can see where CM Punk is pissed. The highlight for me was he was talking about the tribalism and all that, and he goes, "Some of you people just need to go touch grass." And I'm like, "There's never been a truer statement for wrestling fans. Go touch fucking grass." Yeah. Like he's right.
Yeah.
Like he's right. Like just get your fucking head out of your ass. He's clearly coming back.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming back on the 17th. The show's going to be in Chicago. They're going to announce that next week.
But none of that has been confirmed.
No, but it's confirmed.
Lots of. I mean, but I guess I'm cautious about saying that because last week we came on here and we were like, there's this big deal that Warner Brothers did with AEW and they're doing Collision and it looks like it's going to be in Chicago. And there have been a lot of reports that have come out since then that counter those claims that there is no deal and there is no so I guess.
But they just announced Collision today.
Yes.
So there is a deal.
I mean, no, they're adding on to their programming, but they're not announcing like an extended television deal. Like they were giving them more money to produce more shows. I don't remember the exact wording.
They're still negotiating the deal and they haven't announced the actual specifics of it yet.
Okay.
They have a new deal, they just haven't announced the specifics of it. I think it's going to be big. I think they're going to get a fair chunk of change.
Yeah.
Because people are talking. Oh shit! What was it? I think 5 years, $1 billion.
Jesus Christ.
Well, WWE got $1 billion for like 3.
Yeah.
Or more than they got like 2.3 billion for 3. But they're putting up some ridiculous numbers too. I mean, they're reliable for that base fan base.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. Having a Saturday show though is a big deal. I wish it was I wish it started at 5 Central instead of 7 Central. And I wish it took the spot of like the old Saturday night.
Okay.
That WCW had on TBS.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 6:05. Yeah, put it on at 6:05 and have a run for 2 hours. That was when I was a kid, man. I loved that on Saturdays. You can eat dinner and watch fucking WCW and then watch the end of it and then go about your night and do whatever you wanted. So now it's like 7 to 9. Well, fuck. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
On that topic, there has been speculation that there's going to be this soft brand split. And now I've read articles that say there is going to be a hard brand split. So I have several questions. The first being, what do you all think? Like, which way do you think they're going?
I don't think there's going to be a hard. I think it's going to be a soft, and I think they're going to use people where they need them.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I had to guess what's going to happen is they're going to have Punk work Jericho first, even though Punk wants to work Mojo. They're going to have him work Jericho to smooth over the waters. And then they're going to slowly... I think the end game is Punk and the Elite. I think that is where they're going to go. I, honest to God, just think that's where the money is, and you'd be stupid to not do that. If you're Vince McMahon, you're doing it tomorrow and you don't care.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan's not going to do that. Tony Khan's going to try to make sure they can work together and yada, 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 yada. Mm-hmm. Which I think is great. But I think it's a soft brand split. I think they, start a couple programs with people on Dynamite, start a couple programs on Collision, keep them there, let stuff happen. Don't put people on 2 shows.
Yeah.
Because initially with Rampage, Rampage was like a third hour of an A show for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have those people not on Dynamite. They would just be on Rampage, which I think worked.
I guess the one reason that I think that I'm starting to lean towards they're doing a hard split is that they're bringing out all of this talent that has been gone for a while, like Thunder Rosa, Andrade, Miro.
Yeah, but they need people to put on TV if they're going to even do a soft.
Yes. I don't like
part of the reason that they weren't there is because they didn't have good storylines because they simply don't have time.
Right. Right.
You know, could I see him saying we're gonna like the international title is gonna be exclusive to Dynamite and the guy's always gonna defend it there, and then the TNT is gonna be on Collision, they're gonna defend it there. I could see that. Like Jade Cargill probably should be on Collision with that belt that she still has and refuses to lose. And I'm tired of it. I don't know if I mentioned that, but like she should probably be on Collision.
Twice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the other part of that though is that like from other things that I've Jesus Christ, it's so much reading today. Lots of shit has happened.
I think the problem is pretty obvious.
Well, I think the problem is that you have a lot of in AEW's history, there has been a fair amount of high volume drama, especially last year with CM Punk, with Thunder Rosa. And I think it makes a lot of sense to have a brand split that's more hard so that everybody knows when they're coming in. I don't know. Like, I'm not making a lot of sense. The issue.
The biggest issue that WWE has with their brand split is that, well, the biggest issue is they don't follow it. They just act like it's there and they just say whatever. But the biggest issue always was
ignored.
Yeah, and
it's
then
a thing when they need it to be a thing.
If I'm sitting there and I want to run a feud between a guy on Dynamite and a guy on Collision, how the fuck am I going to do it? Because in Tony Khan's world, if you do a hard brand split, you're sticking to a hard brand split.
Yeah.
No one can move, and I don't think that benefits them right now. I think they need people to be able to go from here to there to start different feuds. Because you can't just be like WWE and be like, oh yeah, we have a hard brand split. Da 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 da. Oh, by the way, you can't come to Raw if you're on SmackDown, and then 5 SmackDown guys are there.
Yeah.
Like in the next match. So I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's too limiting. And they don't have what WWE has. They don't have the pedigree of those 2 shows. They don't have 40 world championships to choose from.
That's true. Yeah.
They have 1, so I think you can't. And I think that's part of their charm is you guys can go wherever and guys can do whatever and they're still growing and they're still building. So I just think doing a hard brand split would limit so much at a time when they don't need to limit it. Because what if I'm a tag team and I end up on Collision and the tag champs are on Dynamite? I ain't ever winning the tag belts. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to fight them because that's a hard brand split. That's how they're going to do it. So I don't think it's.
I mean,
it could be a hard brand split for certain people.
I think
like the Elite's going to be on Dynamite, Punk's going to be on Collision, shit like that. I could see happening.
I think if you do like a hard brand split though in that situation, because you can't make a new title. That is just ridiculous. I think then you just say champions are on either show, and then you run their programs like we talked about last week. Like if MJF is doing a program with Jungle Boy and Jungle Boy's on Collision, then MJF is on Collision for a month or whatever.
Do you remember when WWE did that? Because they did it when Triple H beat Jericho at WrestleMania 19.
Okay.
And he unified those belts, and he had to go from show to show.
Right.
And he immediately went to a feud with Hogan, who was on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on Raw, and he had nothing to do. And he came out and he cut a promo on Hulk Hogan, and did stupid shit every week, and it was a total waste of time.
Yes, but in that situation, he was running both shows. It would make no sense to have. It would make no sense to have the world champ on a show where he's not challenging anybody there.
I just think the flaw of a brand split right now is that they don't. This is gonna sound strange. They don't have the people for it, and they don't have the titles for it.
Titles, yes. They have the people though.
They have a lot of names. They've got Miro. They've got guys like that haven't been around. They've got guys they can put places. But they don't. What they need to do is they need to focus on building guys up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at that. Chris Jericho needs to be wherever the fuck Chris Jericho needs to be. You do not need to lock him on one show. You do not. Realistically, the Elite shouldn't be on one show, and Punk should be on one show. those are the guys that should have that ability to move. If you want to keep some of those up-and-comer guys like on Dynamite or on Collision, fine. But like those other guys kind of need that ability to have those exciting feuds. And if you're going to cut in half the talent pool and suddenly you can't have this feud because they're on 2 different shows, that just goes against the way AEW works.
Yeah, I guess, but
you can do. I think you do.
The other side of that too is that like you could end up poaching your audience because I'm gonna probably watch both shows. Tanya's probably gonna watch both shows. Leon's probably gonna, but that's not everybody. Like, so there's gonna be people who are gonna be like, I'm gonna watch Collision, or I'm gonna watch Dynamite.
I'm very curious about that tribalism aspect of it because AEW is so different from WWE, and WWE tried so fucking hard to make it a Raw versus SmackDown thing. I remember that endlessly. Oh, you like Raw or SmackDown? You can't like them both. I don't think AEW will do that, and I think the AEW fans are smarter. This sounds so fucking elitist. They're smarter than WWE fans.
But I think it's not about what is like which show is your favorite, because
tell me I'm wrong.
WWE pushed that narrative. You don't have to push that narrative. You can say, we have 2 shows. You can watch whichever one you want. We don't care. Because there's going to be people who, like, if you do a hard brand split, you'll be like, oh, well, Punk is on this show, so I'm going to watch that show. Whereas, like, a fan who is only going to watch one show because that's all they have time for, so they have to pick one, they're going to go to the one that has more of the guys that they like. Like CM Punk is on this show. I like CM Punk. I'm going to watch that show.
But I think your hard brand splits creates tribalism, especially if you're going to have these guys on this show and this guy on this show, because there was a narrative, though,
and I don't think that WWE.
Well, but hold on,
WWE doing that narrative, like it wasn't like. I don't think that went very well. Like I don't think anybody really gave a shit about Raw versus SmackDown.
Here's the thing.
I could be wrong, but I don't.
Here's the thing, bud. Here's the thing. In the internet wrestling community, which makes up a large percentage of AEW's fan base. Mm-hmm. Correct? Okay. There's a war between the Elite and CM Punk within the internet wrestling fan base. Correct.
Okay.
Because you either like the Elite or you like Punk. Very few people are in the middle. Some people think the Elite is totally right and Punk's a fucking asshole. And other people think the Elite are idiot indie wrestlers who don't know anything and Punk's that dude. So that's what you have. So if you put the Elite on one show and Punk on the other, and you say, this is the brand split, this is where the Elite is, this is where Punk is, you've just divided that audience. You have to do whatever you can to keep that audience wanting to come to both shows. And I just don't see that with a hard brand split. I see it with a soft, and internally you could have a hard brand split, but you can't come out and say you have a hard brand split.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but if you make it like WWE has done this like so wrong in 100 different ways that like they made it like Raw and SmackDown are 2 different teams and they're fighting each other and then they have this draft thing and they switch people over. Like, don't fucking do that shit. Just make this is one show, this is another show. If you have a hard brand split, fine, but you don't have to tell anybody that. You can just be like, hey, look, CM Punk is on Collision. He's going to be on next week, and then people will start to understand, okay, yeah, Punk is on Collision now. Oh, look, Ricky Starks is on Collision. Whatever. Like
the other caveat to that though is their biggest rating draw is CM Punk. Hands down, it's CM Punk.
Sure, yeah.
And if I'm TBS and I'm holding Dynamite, granted they're all owned by Warner, but like I already like, hey, we need to bump in ratings. Get CM Punk over here. You know what I mean? So there's so many little caveats to that.
Yeah.
I think this is my opinion across the board. This isn't just AEW. A hard brand split in this day and age is too limiting. It's too limiting. It's limiting in WWE. That's why they don't fucking follow it. It's limiting everywhere.
Yeah.
When you play
with it, but then they put fucking 30 different holes in it every time.
Mm-hmm.
When you play TEW and you get a really big company and you get a bunch of wrestlers and you're like, shit, I need a brand split, and you start booking a fucking brand split in a game, you realize really quickly, hey, this fucking sucks because I want these two guys to wrestle. So it's just like fuck.
You can't just build in. You can't just build in like a reason for them to move every time, or no?
Well, you could, but you can't. It's tedious. When you're trying to follow a fucking brand split because it's what you fucking. This is what I want to do. This is what I decided to do with my video game company. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stick to it. And suddenly it's like, oh fuck! But I want these two guys to fight. Oh fuck, man! If those two fought, it'd be really good. And you don't have that, and that's what happened in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit, those two should have a feud. They'd be really good together. Let's just fucking bring them over. Who cares? And then your whole point of the brand split just goes down the shitter. So
yeah.
And then the other piece of that is long time TEW player. I had a company where I had 3 fucking brands.
Jesus.
That had a 2-hour show and everyone had a pay-per-view once a month. A lot of booking.
Yeah.
I had 3 world championships. I had 3 like mid-card titles, like US. I would call them like upper mid-card, like a US an intercontinental, international. I had mid-card titles, like a TV title, a hardcore title, boom, boom, boom. I had 3 sets of tag team champions.
Jesus Christ.
So I had like that's what happens because you're like, okay, and it's cool because you can build these other guys up, but then it's just like the logistics of it are like, this game sucks now because I'm doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the problem with the brand split. If you're really going to truly do a brand split, then it's like, well, if our champion's not on Collision, what the fuck are we fighting for? Because and that's how AEW's been. The champion's been the focal point. That's Leon's complaint about MJF. Is the champion's not wrestling. Fine.
I have 2 points on that. First of all, you can move I think you can move the champ. I think it makes sense to move the champ in that situation. And I forgot what the other one was. I think the other part is like WWE puts all focus on the champion. That's why they make John Cena the champion as much as they did, is because John Cena was their guy. So they gave him the championship. They gave Roman Reigns the championship because he's their guy. I don't think that's true of AEW. I think like you look at it and you have MJF. I mean, look at Hangman Page. Hangman Page was very clearly not their guy when he was the champion. He was his booking was not done nearly as well as it was done on other spots on the card.
When Hangman Page was world champion, who main evented every pay-per-view?
Was it Punk? Because that would be my guess.
It was Hangman Adam Page.
Okay.
When
I think they put more focus on Punk.
When Jon Moxley was champion, who main evented every pay-per-view? When MJF's champion, who main events every pay-per-view?
But main eventing a show does not mean that that's your only focus. Like what you're saying is that they can only focus on the AEW championship, and I'm saying AEW doesn't do that. WWE does that.
Oh, that I would agree with, but I think big picture, you're looking at a situation where we're all here to be champion. We want to be champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and we want to get there. And if the champion's not here, then I don't know. I just like I said, too limiting. I just think it's too limiting. As someone who booked one in a video game, I'm very much knowledgeable in this situation.
Yeah, well.
Then I had like what three or 4 shows every year that were all 3 brands.
Jesus Christ!
They were 7-hour shows.
I wouldn't,
because it's like, okay, the last 3 matches are the 3 world championship matches.
Imagine WrestleMania 4 times a year. Fuck that.
Each of them are like a 35-minute match. It's like, yeah, okay.
Well, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't have. That's too much.
For 5.5 hours, but we got 3 matches to go, guys.
All the world championship matches. Then you're trying to get the tag teams on, so you just book like 4 ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like this 4-way tag match is going to be in a Hell in a Cell, and this one's going to be a ladder match, and this one's going to be different. It's going to be a TLC match.
TLC tornado match with barbed wire for some reason.
And then you have like your mid card belts where you're like putting, okay, we're gonna have a 6-way, we're gonna have 3 6-ways that last 7 minutes because we just want to get you on the show. And then for your upper mid card titles, it's like, yeah, we're gonna have some 4-ways, like 15-minute 4-way matches.
Mm-hmm.
It just was so much. I still have that saved somewhere.
Jesus.
Like, it was awesome because like I made like almost $3 million a month, which on TEW is fucking bonkers.
It's a lot.
But yeah. Next match after the thing we just talked about that went on the huge rant.
Was that made the main
Tony Khan announcement? We did the Tony Khan announcement.
Oh no, Jack Perry versus Roosh. This was a good match.
Was that next?
Yeah.
I thought there was something. Oh, that was next. Yeah. I thought it was a good match. I thought the ending was pretty. I thought Jungle Boy didn't look that strong.
Yeah.
But Roosh is good.
Yeah.
And they kind of protected Roosh a little bit.
This felt to me like, and a lot of Jungle Boy's stuff does for me. This felt like Attitude Era. Just an Attitude Era match. Like a good Attitude Era match. Like, it's not shit, but it just had that feel of like big guy fighting small guy. Look how good. And they're both good wrestlers.
Yeah, Roosh is really good.
Roosh.
The ending was interesting. The Sammy coming out to make the save.
Yeah.
Cool. There's something going on there. They're telling some story. I'm curious. Their storytelling, as much as we knock it, not the worst. Not the worst.
It's kind of
sometimes
sometimes it's dog shit and sometimes it's really, really awesome.
It's the shorter things seem to be dog shit.
Yeah.
It's almost like Tony Khan needs 3 years to tell a fucking story. So I'm not exaggerating.
It's true. It's not.
I'm not exaggerating.
When he gets that 3 years, look out, boy.
It's the 3-month one that's kind of like, meh.
That's when all the storylines are going to wrap up when they hit year 3.
The 3-week ones.
What was after that?
What was essentially the main event, Ricky Starks versus Switchblade. Also an excellent match.
I like the ending. I think I want to know what they're going to do with Ricky Starks because he's got it. And he's got momentum. Is he the fucking guy to beat MJF? Because I don't think he is. I would not be opposed.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking Jungle Boy, and I think it's Jungle Boy in like 8 months.
Jesus Christ.
But is it maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is Ricky, because Starks is like
Starks.
He's on fire.
I mean, in a lot of ways, he was one of the pillars, and he's not really lauded.
But he wasn't there. He wasn't there at the start. He came in a little later.
He was.
No, he came in later. He came in for Cody's Open Challenge.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that match he had with him, I remember that because he had that match. I was like, holy fuck, that guy's incredible. And then it was the following week, it was Eddie Kingston. I'm like, holy fuck, that guy's incredible. And then the following week, it was Warhorse. Holy fuck, that guy's not incredible. No offense to Warhorse, because he's got like a cool gimmick.
Yeah.
But then he wrestled, and I was like, ooh, okay.
Not as good. Yeah. No, I get that.
He's BFF with fucking Danhausen, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, that was fine. It's a good match. I want to know what they're doing at the pay-per-view. I hope it involves Sean Spears.
Yeah.
Because they teased that before. I would very much be down for that.
He disappeared for some reason. I wrote a note that says, I want Starks in Bullet Club Gold. I'm not really sure why, but I do. Like, I think he would fit really well. I just feel like, despite the fact that Bullet Club Gold has Jay White, it doesn't feel like they have a leader, and they need a leader.
They're more like a tag team. I'm curious, like, they brought him in, and he was a huge signing, and I feel like they're kind of not doing anything.
They're kind of sleeping on him.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, though, a lot of guys who get signed like that, like Tony Storm included, Ruby Soho, like if they're not huge names in America, they wound up on Dark or Rampage, and they sort of built their name up that way.
Maybe
so then maybe that's what they're doing, but they're doing it on Dynamite.
Maybe it's going to take time. Maybe they got to get some momentum. Bullet Club Gold, if they're going to be something, they need more members.
Mm-hmm.
They need like a tag team, and they need some momentum. I love Don Callis.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love Don Callis. The way he came out with the security guards and shit was playing the video last week. The only thing I'm pissed about is he didn't actually get to say fully what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he just ran like a scalded dog, which I think is perfect. I think the longer they keep that at bay, that's great. I want to know what they're going to do with Don Callis. Because I think there's a lot of potential for him to grab onto somebody, and just whoever he gets under his wing is just going to get lifted up.
I think the guy is Punk. I mean, I think you can take Don Callis and build a stable underneath him, like him as the manager of the stable.
How long till Punk punches him in the face? I'm not talking on screen. I'm talking backstage.
Yeah, either way. But I think like Don Callis. The one thing that I'm loving is that they're being very deliberate about making it seem like he's somehow affiliated with Bullet Club. Not Bullet Club.
Blackpool.
But they're not actually saying that.
Yep, that's what I like.
And I think they're because and now I think like Kenny Omega and CM Punk seem to be on the same page. So like I think that's a great way to bring him in.
Kenny Omega and CM Punk are on the same page?
As in they don't hate each other. I don't know about the Jacksons and the Bucks.
That's the bigger problem.
I don't know about the Bucks and Punk, but
when Omega came out, I popped. Like legit, I was like, oh! But then I'm like, there's no way he's getting to him. And then he started beating up the security guards. I'm like, oh, he's going to get to him. What the fuck are they going to do? Mm-hmm. And then Blackpool comes out. I'm like, oh. And then they went in the ring and they cut that promo. And as he's sitting up there, I'm like, oh, fuck, here come the Young Bucks. And it's like you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because it happened. I was like, oh my fucking God, yes. That was a fucking moment. Hangman coming out, standing there next to him.
That right
and then
there.
Kenny hands him the fucking broom.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that is so fucking perfect. And then at the end, when Hangman's like, we're the elite, it's just like, that crowd was just fucking bonkers.
Oh my God.
It was so good.
When Paige's music hit, that fucking pop. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was
amazing.
He is such a star, and his reign was so fucking disappointing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. I don't know if they didn't have anything for him, or if they just didn't think about it, or like what. Or if too many new guys came in and they got sidetracked like from what they were doing.
I think it's that.
You know, because it's like that fucking guy is... And I thought he'd be done after that title reign. I thought he was going to come back. He was going to lose all his momentum. No, he fucking came back stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do we fucking... Like, he should be world champion. Mm-hmm. He could beat MJF. And I'd be like, fuck yeah. But you got to give him something after that. That's a concern I have right now. Because if you look at AEW, whoever beats MJF, who are the heels they're going to fight?
I mean, that's a fair question.
And I think that's
Jericho, and that's about it at this point.
Sometimes Jericho, sometimes,
yeah.
You know, and then you have like Blackpool, but Blackpool is so. You almost can't put. I don't know. It's very, very interesting. Like there's just not a lot out there. Mm-hmm. But man, that was an amazing end. That was an amazing fucking end to that show, and I'm excited. That fucking match is gonna be amazing. That's gonna be a great match. Mm-hmm. Anarchy in the fucking arena.
I can't believe they're doing that again.
But it's such a good fucking match.
Yeah.
Every time you have it, it's so good. They've never had it's perfect. It's fucking perfect. I think it'll be great. I think that'll be another one of those ones we look back on and go, oh fuck, like every other one they've had. You know, I thought this was a solid show.
Yeah,
I thought it was a solid show.
Strongly agree.
What other topics do you have, bud?
I was really hoping for, like, the announcement that Tony Khan made. Like, he made a huge deal out of it, and when he actually
Him
did it,
getting the
like,
second TV show is a huge deal.
Yeah, but they announced it like 5
announcing that we're going to announce something next week. My big announcement is that I'm announcing something next week. Stop announcing shit. Just fucking stop. That was my.
Put
that
out
was
a
my
press release. Yeah.
Leon is going to make an announcement later that he's going to announce later in the day that he might take a poop.
I might. You
Actually,
never know.
While we're on the subject, I have an announcement. My announcement is that Leon has an announcement about whether or not Town has an announcement as to whether or not there's an announcement next week. So look forward to that. I'm with you.
And
like,
now I'm going cross-eyed.
It's gonna double our viewers to 6.
Big subscriber count.
I see, like we usually get like 18 to 20 or so.
Depends. No, I think
do you have anything? Do you have any other topics, bud?
No, I mean, my big thing was Collision, and you kind of jumped on that, so
Yeah, we all did.
which is fine.
Hey, Joe.
They're doing the Saudi Arabia show, and Sami Zayn can go now because Syrians are allowed in Saudi Arabia.
What?
Oh, great.
Sammy and KO are going to fight the greatest tag team of all time, Solo and Roman. And I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking like, fucking Sami Zayn's gonna pin Roman because it makes sense. But then in my head, I'm like, Roman's gonna fucking pin Sami Zayn and win the tag team titles.
Ow!
Which
Like, what is okay? Raise your hand if you would be surprised if that happened.
No.
The new belt still looks like shit. The booking for the tournament was shitty. It's a Raw exclusive belt, but we're gonna have SmackDown guys fight for it. Wait, what? We just did a fucking brand split. What are you talking about? Rollins and AJ will be a good match for the title. Rollins is gonna win. Whatever. I don't know. I like Gunther. He's great. He just needs to keep killing people. Give him the fucking belt. That's the guy that should have the belt. Just let him fucking murder people. Give him like a year. Give him a reign from this pay-per-view until WrestleMania, just chopping the fuck out of people. Kill everybody. And then lose the belt to, I don't know, whoever.
Gilbert. Danhausen.
Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy would be Gunther. Gunther couldn't handle his orange kicks. That is an interesting thing though, because I read that like the top 3 or the top 10 wrestlers, like top 3 wrestlers right now, past 3 months. Who you got, Leon?
I think Gunther's got him.
Leon, you go first.
On your toes, Leon.
Wrestlers. Orange Cassidy. Who's been doing stuff? Orange Cassidy and... You know what? Orange Cassidy and FTR.
How about you, bud?
I would say probably Gunther, Orange Cassidy, and Sammy. Although Sammy's now like
part of a tag team.
I think he's still probably up there.
Mine would be Orange Cassidy, Gunther, and that third one's hard because there's so many guys that it could be. And I'm about to rant too. Just hold on. Because we missed one of the things that happened tonight with FDR. Let me name my third person first. So Orange would be 1, Gunther would be 2. I don't even know where. Not Wardlow. I'm not wondering if it's Rhea Ripley.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah, she's on fire right now.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't even been watching WWE, and I know what she's been up to.
Yeah, because she's good. Dominic Mysterio could be up there too, because he's probably my favorite WWE wrestler. I have a student in my classroom who fucking hates Dominic Mysterio because you're supposed to, and I'm like, hey, he went to jail, man. He changed. You don't know what it's like on the inside. And the kid who's
He was on the inside.
the kid who is
man.
I teach special needs, so it's a special needs student is like, he was only in jail for like 20 minutes. He didn't go to prison at all. Like, hey, it changed him. You don't know what he did in the inside.
A lot can happen in 20 minutes.
We had him in a holding cell. Karen Jarrett was on AEW tonight, and it was stupid, and I hated it.
Fucking hell.
I hated it. I hate it. I just like this is the problem I have with Jeff Jarrett. He like goes away, and he does just enough to like what he should be doing, and then he gets like a 10-minute promo where he looks like a god, and his fucking wife comes out. Why is Karen Jarrett on my fucking TV screen? I don't want to see her.
Nope.
I don't want to see Satin sing either. I'm tired of him. He didn't do anything. I am tall. Wrestle. One time. Wrestle a fucking match. Show me that you can bump and you're not just Giant Gonzalez 2023. If he is, give him a sprayed on butt crack. Then I'll cheer for him. I thought that segment was stupid when it began. I thought it was even dumber when Karen Jarrett came out.
It got worse.
Why is Karen Jarrett on my screen when Ty Conte can't be on my screen? Or Anna Jay or Abaddon or any of those other women that are like really fucking good wrestlers, really talented people that need to be on the screen. Why are we getting Karen Jarrett? Why are we getting Karen Jarrett?
I mean, we're getting Karen Jarrett because Jeff Jarrett is a carny. No, but I mean, that's what it is. Like, it's him being a carny. It's Jeff Jarrett saying, you know what would be fucking crazy is if my wife showed up because she was on TNA for a while. Like, that's what it was.
Give her a payday.
I'm with you. I don't want Karen Jarrett on my TV either. But at the same time, I understand what Jeff Jarrett was doing. And I understand. I can see the strings being pulled. I can see that Jeff Jarrett has his hands on this particular segment.
Why are we, again, for the 500th time, there is like 5 tag teams I can think of off the top of my head that should be in that spot. Even more than that. Fucking the Acclaimed.
The Acclaimed?
The fuck? They're the most popular team. They're not doing shit.
Yeah, they're not even on the card.
Like, why are they not there? Why are the Acclaimed not doing? Well, they're doing a 3-way at the pay-per-view with.
Oh, they are?
The House of Black. Yeah,
okay.
That should be good.
Yes.
But like, why are we forcing Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal down our throats again when there's better tag teams? There's better characters. There's more interesting characters. There's better wrestlers. There's just teams that deserve to be there. And yet we're going with these guys. And it's so annoyingly repetitive. And it's like one of the few things on the show that I hate. And now we have Karen Jarrett to put the cherry on.
My hope.
Do you know who should join that group? Jade Cargill. Because then I could change the channel.
Damn, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say hard pass on that. No.
Yeah.
Like, I have been critical of Jade. I think they're honestly not having her on TV right now is brilliant.
She's on Rampage every week. Yeah. Every week she's on Rampage.
Yeah, but when Chris comes back, that's not what we're talking about. I just think that, like, it's carny shit. And my hope is that at the end of all of this, we get Jay Lethal with Mark Briscoe. Because I think that could be really cool. I don't know what you do with the other guys.
Jay doesn't want to be a tag team wrestler.
Okay.
So what do? They're just buddies?
Yeah, why not?
Because Jay has said that he will not wrestle in a tag team match ever again.
Damn. Okay.
Do you mean
I don't
Mark?
know that.
Yeah, Mark. Pardon me,
Okay.
Mark.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Jay won't either. But Mark said he will not wrestle in a tag team match ever again.
Okay.
So I don't think he will. I don't think he should.
Yeah.
So like,
No, that makes sense.
He'll do triple threats or he'll do singles,
Mm-hmm.
but he'll never do a 2 versus 2, which I think is fucking awesome and kudos to him. But
Yeah, I respect that.
I don't know. The problem is I don't see an end game for that group. They're just they recycle everything they do, and they do the same shit with everybody. All their feuds are the same, be it the best friends, be it this, be it that. They just kind of keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, I really like Jay Lethal. I don't like Jeff Jarrett. Like my thing is that like Jeff Jarrett can go. He can go in the back. We don't need him anymore. And I think like Satnam Singh, he's not there yet. Like that's clear. He's not there yet. So I think he needs seasoning, and I think Sanjay Dutt needs to do something else. Like maybe he needs his own group. I don't think the group as it is right now, the way it's being booked, makes much sense. And the way it's being booked is basically Jeff Jarrett is booking them from the list. I like
Sanjay Dutt. I really like Sanjay Dutt. And I think his character brings a lot to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's fantastic. But sticking him in that group is like Jay Lethal does not fit in that group. And Jeff Jarrett does not fit in that group.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this weird hide. Like, why is Jeff Jarrett in that group?
Because he's pals with Jay Lethal. That's pretty much it. Like, I don't know what to tell you, Town.
Hate it. Fucking hate it.
He's a carny. And he's doing carny shit. And what's worse, I think, is that Jay Lethal, I think...
It's bringing him down.
Jay Lethal tends to also be a carny. But not quite as badly.
It's bringing Jay Lethal down.
And Jay Lethal is also actually talented. So, there's that. And he's not 57 or whatever.
He's a hell of an impressionist.
They broke 2 guitars tonight and nobody gave a shit. Didn't draw a dime. I knew Leon would like that one.
10 guitars.
Never drew a dime. Yeah.
10,002.
Is that all of the rants? I didn't even watch it. Like, I don't care.
That's the point when I pull out my phone. I just start looking at my phone because like I don't care about this. And when he wrestles, it's the same thing. Even when he wrestled Orange Cassidy, like I did not pay attention to that match because I just am not interested in him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm glad Orange Cassidy won because I thought for sure they're going to give this motherfucker the belt, and I'm gonna be so fucking mad. But it's going to be so fantastic on here because I'm going to rant like a motherfucker, you know. But it's just like I don't know. There's something like he comes out and it's like he's a black hole of charisma, if that makes sense. And he's just like a black hole of entertainment. He just comes out and it's just like, oh. Dude, come on! You're Tennessee from like 1984. Stop!
I don't know if you all know this quote or whatever. Jerry Seinfeld, for a very long time, has said that what he does is he has his shtick, and then every year when he's done with his comedy, his stand up for the year, he cuts 10%, and then he refills it. And the way you were just describing it, I'm like, that's Jeff Jarrett. He does that, except that he forgets to cut the 10%. So he has all of this old shit that didn't work. And he keeps using the same old shit that doesn't work. Like, and you're like,
bringing guitars.
Yeah, right. Slap nuts. Shut up.
Don't piss me off.
I remember in late stage WCW with him when he was a champion, and I remember people telling me it wasn't you guys. It was people at school that were like watching, that were like WCW guys. Were like WWE's in trouble or WWF's in trouble. Like, real? What? And I'm like, why? Well, the WCW has some up and coming stars. I mean, they got Goldberg; he's already there. But I'm telling you, Jeff Jarrett, you don't know what he is. He's gonna be better, bigger than Austin.
No.
Like, no.
You and
Just
I
like,
clearly
no.
did not run in the same wrestling circles.
No, that I don't remember who told me that. I was just like,
No, they didn't.
Legit.
No, they didn't.
Legit. They were like a huge Jeff Jarrett fan. Legit.
You know,
It was fuck, I remember who it was too. Fuck, who was it?
Leader?
I was just gonna say that.
No, it was somebody in your class. It was one of the football players in your class, Leon. Yeah, and he never like. And then I watched him because I was like, really? And then I watched and I was like, no, like his in-ring work. Oh, Steve Austin had a great rant on Jeff Jarrett because he hates him.
Shocker.
And he was like, because they stiffed him on his pay when he worked down there. They treated him like shit. Mm-hmm. And then he got big, and then Jarrett came in. Jarrett came in and cut a promo on Austin that Austin didn't know he was going to cut. And Austin's like, why the fuck would I want to work with you? Your shit in the ring is so soft, it looks like shit. You can't, I'm stiff. I throw hard shit. You throw this little baby shit. I don't want to work with you. It's like, yeah, and then you watch him work, and you're like, yeah. And he's not a bad worker, but he's not a good worker. Yeah. He's like passable. Like he's never has like a bad match, but he never has like a 4-star match either. He's like your 2.5 stars. That's just where he is. He's just like mid. He is mid. He's a definition of mid, and he always has been. It's just what he is. He's just mid.
It's hard for me to argue any of these points.
And if he thinks he's such a fucking star, it's such an important piece of wrestling. Like when he was running TNA and he was getting shoved down everybody's throats, how come they weren't like growing and getting all these people to watch? It's because he sucks.
Because he was booking. And
yeah,
so not only did you have to suffer through Jeff Jarrett when he was on the screen, you had to suffer through Jeff Jarrett when he wasn't. Because he was booking all of the matches and like all of the storylines and shit. And you could definitely like I would tune in to TNA every once in a while, like once or twice every year, and be like, are they better? And I would try to watch the whole show, and it would be like 20 minutes, and I'm like, this is just shit.
The only time I watched TNA was when they went on Monday nights. Like they decided to go on Mondays, and Vince was like, hey, we're just gonna bring Bret Hart back. For no reason at all.
I remember that, yeah.
And we watched that, and that segment with Bret and Shawn at the beginning of the show was awesome. And then we turned on fucking. And then they followed that up with a really good match. Don't remember what it was, just remember like that's a pretty good match. And then we turned on fucking. We turned on TNA, and there's Hulk Hogan cutting a Hulk Hogan promo from like 1989. And then they cut to a segment in the back, and it's like, oh look, it's the Nasty Boys. Great. And then like 2 segments later, somebody was sitting at a table, and it's, oh look, it's Val Venus, but they can't call him Val Venus because they own that name. Yeah. It's Sean Morley with a towel on doing his Val Venus gimmick, kind of. It's just like that was TNA to me. Bad.
It was. A lot of those WWF guys wound up just like doing a legally distinct version of their original gimmicks, which was never good. It was never good.
That was one of my biggest concerns with AEW. Mm-hmm. Was that they were going to get that and that was going to come in, but I think Moxley set the bar when he came in, and it was like, I'm John Moxley, here's what I am, and he changed his character. And then when everybody else came in, like Punk owns CM Punk, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But like Bryan Danielson, it was like, what is he going to come in and do the yes shit? Because that's what everybody likes, and it's like, no, he's going to come in and be this vicious fucking killer who just beats the shit out of people, which is so much better than anything he ever did in WWE.
Well, Stomp that fucking head in.
And I think the flip side, though, is that like those guys came up in the indies, and so they have those indie personas to like go back to. When you look at Val Venus, he came up in WWF. He's a name as a WWF guy. So when he went to TNA,
but he did do, like, but that's not totally true. Because he was in the indies.
I mean, what I'm saying is like a lot of those guys.
Because he was part of that rookie class with Edge, and they were up. They both got pulled out of Canada. They were doing Canadian indies, and which was hot there for a little bit. They got Edge, Christian, and him. But
Next in Hardcastle.
Which is still one of my favorite names of all time, and I'm sad that nobody ever used it.
Did you know that they initially wanted to make Edge Val Venus?
I think I heard that somewhere. Yeah,
that would have been so weird. And then Val Venus would have been Edge. Like, what the fuck?
I'm glad they went a different way. But like Punk and Danielson and Cesaro and Cole and like all of those guys that AEW has picked up, they got big in ROH. So like those guys, they made that persona in ROH, and so they can sort of just discard the shit they did in WWF. Yeah. Val Venus can't do that because like that's his entire. That's what he got big on.
That's what he's known as.
Yeah, I think there's a change in this business though too, because in the 1980s when you got left the WWF, like the Honky Tonk Man, when he left, he was done. You know, when these guys left, they would go to the independents and just like oh god, Nikolai Volkov. Nikolai Volkov,
Nikita Koloff.
Yeah, they're kind of, but Nikolai Volkov was like the same thing. There was a guy who did that gimmick, and then he got old, and then he just went to Indies and did Nikolai Volkov on the Indies forever. And it was just like, okay.
I mean, we talked about Greg Valentine
last week.
Same thing.
And it seems like those guys in the 80s and the mid 90s, and then even the Attitude guys like didn't have anything else. They had the character they built there, and now it's. And I think it's I blame the Attitude Era. I won't blame it. It's the Attitude Era, because when you grew up in the Attitude Era, you had more ideas for shit you wanted to do, and I think it moved away from the carny bullshit into like this creative art thing. Like your character's an art piece that you're trying to build, you're trying to expand, and people embrace that now, as opposed to back then it was you walk into Vince McMahon's office, you'd be like, all right, what are you good at? You can mow the lawns, all right. You're Doug the lawnmower guy, and that was what you were. And then when you went to the Indies, it's like, now I'm Doug the handyman. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a different world. But there's still guys that go to WWE,
lawn and garden specialist,
and can't like come out of that. Like No Way Jose.
Yeah.
Done. Adam Rose. Done. Like those guys were talented, but kind of they were like way too in the WWE system. And I think one of the things Triple H is doing is he's not getting guys just in that system. Now, if we look at the current crop of NXT stars that all have porn names, which we talked about previously, if we look at them, what's going to happen when they leave? They're going to struggle like a motherfucker because they're not going to know how to do any shit. They're only going to know how to do one character. But that's what Vince McMahon wants.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want you to go anywhere else. He wants to use you until you're done and then you go away. He doesn't want anybody else to profit off of you.
Yeah.
So.
That is 100% the case. This is a real somber note that we ended on. Or angry, probably angry, I guess. But I don't have anything.
Jarrett's fault. It's Jeff Jarrett's fault.
It usually is. He's just
Jeff
a fucker.
Fucking Karen.
It kind of is. It actually kind of is Jeff Jarrett's fault.
I would be willing to bet that Kurt would agree with us. All right. Well, this has been the Brewdcast. Where shockingly enough, we ragged on Jeff Jarrett for a while.
We talked about CM Punk. We bitched about Jeff Jarrett and wound up bitching about Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
As is customary.
It's just kind of that's our gimmick.
And you don't fuck with traditions.
We don't fuck with
traditions. Talked about how great Orange Cassidy and Danhausen are.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I've been Bud. This has been Leon in town. All hail Orange Cassidy.
Hail Orange Cassidy.